We will go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Independence Day Council for Monday, December 7th, 2020. We are back to our all virtual format. So I would just remind people, if you are not speaking, to please mute your microphone so that we have the best audio quality that we can have for this virtual meeting. So we will begin this evening with, as we always do, with our invocation. Lupe Moy is with us. She is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she will offer our invocation. Lupe. Okay. Madam City Clerk, is Lupe with us?
I'm not seeing her on the call unless she's in here as one of the callers, so I don't think she's joined us.
Okay, so then we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmembers Huff.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
DeLucy.
Here.
Steinmeier.
Here.
Hobart. Mayor Weir.
Here. Madam City Clerk, are there any citizens who requested to speak to the council this evening?
We didn't have anybody who signed up by the 12 o'clock deadline, so I do not believe so.
Okay, is there anyone on the virtual meeting who wishes to address the council this evening? Okay, this takes us to our presentation resolution, our employee of the month. Madam City Clerk.
Whereas the City Employee Recognition Program recognizes outstanding performance by employees of the City of Independence, and whereas an employee committee selects the employee of the month for exhibiting the qualities and ideals that best represent public service. And whereas the Employee Recognition Committee has selected Laura Lee Locker, Utility Data Specialist with the Power and Light Department, as the employee of the month for December 2020.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for approval of this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Steinmeier.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Congratulations to Laura Lee, and we will be presenting her with her proclamation, her resolution in her department at a later time. This takes us to our consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Weir, I move to approve the reports and recommendations of the city manager.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any items any council member wishes pulled for separate consideration? Okay. Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda? I'm sorry.
Items 4 and 5.
Mayor Weir, I'd like to pull number 3.
I'm sorry, Councilman Steinmeier, that was you were 4 and 5, right?
5, yes, ma'am.
And Councilman Huff, number 3.
Yes.
Are there any others? Okay. Hearing none, I will call the roll. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll on the consent agenda, items number 4, 5, and 3.
Councilmembers Huff.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Steinmeier.
Yes.
Hobart.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Councilman Steinmeier, item number 4.
I want to just in lieu of some things that are going on, just make sure that in item 4, specifically, would like to talk a little bit about what equipment this entails, $178,212. What specifically are we lacking? What are we getting? And what will this bring to our current situation in terms of updating and security?
Certainly, council member, I'd be pleased to answer that for you. So this is going to be primarily focused on acquisition of laptops and tablets for our employees to utilize. Employees who are in the field right now oftentimes have to come back to their place of work at the end of the day to file reports, complete documents, things of that nature. So this will allow for some of those efficiencies to do that work in the field rather than having to come back to their place of employment to complete those reports. Secondarily, the pandemic, of course, has required a great many of our employees to work remotely. They have not had the technology and access that they need to be able to do so. Oftentimes, we may do, but this is going to allow us to acquire better, more reliable, more efficient pieces of equipment. Again, tablets, computers, laptops, et cetera, for those employees to be able to work out remotely away from their place of employment when they're able to do so. So this is more of a end user equipment for the optimization and efficiency of our workforce, less focused on any security aspect with this particular purchase order.
How many units are we purchasing of this 178? What's the breakdown in terms of cost per unit?
I believe it is 78, but I will ask my Finance and Administration Director, Brian Kidney, to confirm those data points for you.
Okay.
27. Yeah, it will break down to approximately $2,000 per unit. There are, in addition to laptops, there's some scanners in that cost that kind of throws that per unit cost out a little bit. To follow up again with Mr. Walker's talk, there's 30 of the units, or I can give you a breakdown of where they're going. 30 of the units are going to public safety. 33 units are for non-public safety personnel, and 8 units are, 33 units are non-public safety included in the general fund. 8 units are non-public safety outside of the general fund. And then really important, and one of the bigger items on this is 27 of these units are what we're calling loaners. And these are set up for instance, we have a lot of public safety people that have been exposed to COVID and that they have to go into quarantine. And these units are for them, so they can be doing other duties, light duty or some other duties, keeping track of everything where they're not in, they're in quarantine. So we're really excited about that part of it, having these units for those employees.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I move to approve item number 4.
Second.
I'm sorry. Hearing no other questions, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
yes,
DeLucy,
yes,
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, item number 4 passes. Councilman Steinmeier, item number 5.
Same questions, trying to figure out what we're doing in terms of Wi-Fi enhancements of this for specific locations, or just equipment cost, and where will this new equipment be placed in?
Yeah, thank you again, Councilmember, for those questions. This is going to be for the entire City of Independence network. It will be housed at multiple city facilities across the community. One of the more notable places for the council will be within the council chamber. So I know we have had difficulties in the past with our presentations, with our broadcasting capabilities. This is going to upgrade the bandwidth to be able to allow us to provide that information and both the broadcast on a more reliable, consistent basis. As far as where the technology specifically will be housed, I again will defer to our Director of Finance Administration, Brian Kidney, for some of that information.
Thank you. Yeah, as City Manager said, these are truly across the board.
No, you can't find me.
Okay. This is, I'll just run down the locations and the amounts. So if we were to break this down by where the equipment's being deployed, Animal Services is around $10,000. The City Hall improvements around $12,500. There's Fire Department at $3,800. Police Department at $8,700. $25,000 of this will be for at the IUC building. Additional power and light facilities will be approximately $15,000. The Park and Rec facilities, again, citywide Park and Rec facilities are approximately $32,000. Water, $8,000. Municipal services, the WPC portion of municipal services around $11,000. And then municipal services, public works is around $7,500 to come up with that total $134,000.
So this should get all the enhancements and upgrades throughout all the departments necessary. In other words, we're going to come back and seek more on the road here. Should this cover everything?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the equipment, and it does include software that does allow for a higher broadcast level, if you will, to allow not only these type of meetings, but obviously we have a lot of employee meetings with large groups of people that we need this additional Wi-Fi.
Agreed.
Okay, are there any other questions on item number 5?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve item number 5.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, item number 5 passes. Councilmember Huff, item number 3.
Yes, I had a little concern, Mr. City Manager, on this. Mainly the difference in the bids. Is this company missing something? I mean, we got a $1.2, $1.3 million bid and a couple other ones in the 800s. This is down here at 5. Not complaining, just questioning if everybody is on the same page on that. It's quite a discrepancy between all the bidders there.
Right. This is a project that's being managed through Municipal Services. Our director, Lisa Phelps, is on meeting broadcast, and I'll ask Lisa to go into the detail of the bid.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. So yes, we had a plan set designed. That same plan set was available to all the bidders. We had all 3 of them had questions about the project. Basically, this project is a sanitary pipe, a 12-inch sanitary pipe that has become squash shaped because of the weight of the line it's on, and we ended up having to relocate it entirely because of the instability of the slope. It might have some to do with just availability of their staff to do the work, but they all had the same plan set presented to them, and questions and answers to any questions were made public to all bidders.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead. No. Okay.
I
Make-
move to item number 3.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, item number 3 passes. Okay, this takes us to our public hearings this evening. Our first is a public hearing for the amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 14 of the Independent City Code relating to donation bins. This is a full public hearing. I think Rick Arroyo is going to conduct this public hearing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Rick, are you here? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Rick Arroyo, the Assistant Community Development Director here at the city. This ordinance change was presented to the Planning Commission on October 27th. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of the ordinance. I'll briefly kind of just go over the purpose of the code changes, why we're here, why we are proposing it, and then kind of go over briefly some of the actual changes in the code. And then I'll take some of your questions afterwards. So first off, this particular situation was brought to staff's attention. There was a neighboring city that had put together an ordinance that required a permit for donation bins. We do currently have a ordinance in our code, or UDO, for donation bins, but it doesn't actually require a permit. And so we don't have a way to actually track who has any of these on their properties. And then we just took it as an opportunity to go through it, kind of revise it, update it, and make some of these changes that we felt were critical for our city. So just to kind of highlight some of those changes, in Article 4, there is a section in there called 14-400. It does currently talk about donation bins. We actually moved it into its own article title, and we called it 14-422. Just a little bit easier to find it, kind of gives it a little bit more importance. And we felt like we had enough information in there to create its own little title section. And we call it donation bins and donation centers with this proposal. Some of the things that we added were some basically standards and performance standards for it. We included things, and these are just changes that we've added to the existing code. But we did include placement of that particular bin. For example, it can't be on grass or on gravel or on dirt or something that could be muddy. And so we did put in some specifications that it has to be on an approved durable surface. We did add some additional signage, meaning that they have to show that a sign that doesn't allow trash or debris to be left on the outside of the bin. We did require the bins to actually have some kind of lockable ability. In other words, like a one-way door. So when you put donated materials in, it can't easily be taken out. We did add a maintenance section to this particular portion as well. Part of that, basically, when we actually have the donation bin owner and the contact information within 24 hours, if the owner or the city requests that a particular area be cleaned up, that would be part of this permit under this code. We also added some criteria in there to make sure that it's removed in the event that the business license no longer exists or the business isn't there anymore, as to not leave donation bins on a vacant lot. We did, with that, added a permit section. That permit section requires information from the bin owner, which is the responsible party, but also the information for the business that's actually keeping it on their property. And with that, a $25 fee per year that would have to be updated for as long as that bin is on the property. We did then add another section to it that we're calling donation centers. And this is more the thrift and donation businesses that are here year round. And what we added for that was some security measures, some cameras, 24-hour surveillance cameras, as well as some lighting, illumination in that particular donation bin area. This ordinance update also requires an update to Article 2 We do add some definition changes in there to make some clarifications, as well as a fee schedule update for the $25 fee under the licensing and permitting section. We did add a effective date of July 1st of 2021 for any particular thrift areas to come into compliance with these new code changes. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Rick. This is a full public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of this amendment? Is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
And this is getting in the weeds a little bit. I didn't see anything in the ordinance that defines what size the signage has to be. The signage that goes on the bin. Did I read that right, that there's signage on the bin?
There is signage on the bin. It's supposed to show what that particular item or that box is being donated for. I had to go back and look. I don't think there is a size requirement in there. But
So without a size requirement, not that it necessarily would be a problem, but there's going to be one person that'll put a sign on there that's the size of a postage stamp. And I'd like to see that added. I'd like to see some, the size of the sign and the size of the font that needs to be used. I don't mean to, you guys have done a lot of work on this, and I don't mean to cause you more work, but if you want to look at some examples, the city of Kansas City has an incredibly detailed sign requirements for their tow signs, towing zones. I don't know that you need to go that far, but that would be my my recommendation to you.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Mr. City Manager, is that something that we could add to this, or would that to make that additional amendment? Does that need to go back to the Planning Commission?
I think we can do that at this level. I believe probably, Mayor, we could even do it, make some administrative regulations around that. But if the council would like to embed that into the ordinance change here, we could do that at this level here.
Okay, very good. Then I will close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, if you would please proceed with the ordinance.
Bill number 20-089, an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 14 of the Independent City Code pertaining to donation bins and centers. Second and final reading.
Okay, Councilman Hobart, would you like to amend that to include addition of some specific signage requirements?
I would, Madam Mayor, and I don't know how specific I need to be, but I'd just say at the we move to amend the ordinance to include a provision that specifies sign size and reasonable measures to make sure that the sign can be easily read on the bin.
Okay.
At the recommendation of the city manager's office.
Okay, very good. Is there a second on the motion to amend?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll on the ordinance as amended?
We'll need 2 roll call votes. We'll need one for the motion to amend and then one to approve.
Okay, well then let's call the roll on the amendment.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Salusi,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Now would you please call the roll on the ordinance as amended?
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, ordinance passes. This takes us to our next public hearing, which is a public hearing for the application by Manuel Garzona requesting a rezoning from C2 General Commercial to C3 Service Commercial for the property located at 1026 West 23rd Street. This is new information only. Mr. Arroyo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This application was considered by the Planning Commission on October 27th. The Planning Commission did recommend in favor of this application, and I don't have any new information to share.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Hearing none, please call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, you need to read the ordinance first. Go ahead, Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-090, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C2 General Commercial to District C3 Service Commercial for the property located at 1026 West 23rd Street South in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the application by Tim O'Neill and Amy Jacobson requesting a rezoning from I-1 Industrial to C1 Neighborhood Commercial for the property located at 1450 West Lexington Avenue. This is new information only. Mr. Arroyo.
Yes, thank you again, Mayor. This application was considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission on October 27th. Planning Commission did recommend in favor of this application also, and I, again, have no new information to present.
Okay, is there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-091, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District I-1 Industrial and District R6 Single Family Residential to C1 Neighborhood Commercial for properties located at 1450 West Lexington Avenue in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilman.
thank you. I just want to say what a great way to breathe new life in an older building by changing the zoning and allowing Tim and Amy to use their creativeness with this building, and what a great addition it is to the arts district and the art area. So I'll be voting in favor for this zoning change.
Okay, very good. Are there any other comments or questions on this ordinance? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, ordinance passes. We have one non-ordinance action item this evening. Madam City.
Council action is requested to direct the city manager to negotiate and enter into an annual lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management.
Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, item passes. We have two ordinances for consideration this evening. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-088, an ordinance finding, determining, and declaring the necessity of acquiring temporary construction and grading easements and general utility easements for the Vale Sidewalk Improvements Project, project number 701100807, authorizing the negotiation and eminent domain proceedings if necessary, approving the plans and specifications for the project, authorizing the use of experts as needed, authorizing and directing the execution of documents and the payment of funds to property owners or others holding property rights in conjunction with the project. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff,
yes,
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
yes,
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, ordinance passes.
Bill number 20-092, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Public Transit Operating Assistance Grant in the amount of $16,653 for operating expenses associated with transit service for the period July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021, and making the necessary appropriations. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
yes,
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
yes,
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, ordinance passes. This takes us to our first readings. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-093, an ordinance authorizing a contract with the City of Lee Summit, Missouri for the City of Independence, Missouri to supply water to Lee Summit. Bill number 20-094, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District I-1 Industrial to District R-12 two-family residential for the property at 1201 South Osage in Independence, Missouri. Bill number 20-0.
Madam City Clerk, excuse me, sorry. Before we move on to 20-095, this is something that the council has been discussing for several months, the use of our CDBG funds, as the city manager had reported to us a few weeks ago. We intended to use these funds for some type of commercial business support. We were not able at that time to get that authorized by HUD. So this is a redirection of those funds to use this for rental assistance program that would be administered through the Community Services League. I would like to ask the council for consideration of treating this as an emergency ordinance this evening. These are funds that we need to get into the community. There is an urgent need for this type of assistance. And so I would like to make a motion to read this as an emergency.
I'll
Second.
second it,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion for emergency? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
yes,
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
yes,
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Motion passes. Madam City Clerk, you can proceed with the reading.
Bill number 20-095, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Community Services League for the administration of a rental assistance program for low and moderate income individuals utilizing community development block grant CDBG CV funds in an amount not to exceed $184,533. Bill number 20-095, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Community Services League for the administration of a rental assistance program for low and moderate income individuals utilizing community development block grant CDBG CV funds in an amount not to exceed $184,533. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
when we talk about low and moderate income, can we define that? I mean, can the council hear what those numbers are?
Yes, Mr. City Manager.
Yes, though off the top of my head, Mayor and Councilmember Steinmeier, I confess I don't know exactly what that data point is, but the federal government has qualified what low and moderate income is for communities. We are a qualifying community under the housing and urban development definition, but I confess I don't have that number at my fingertips. I apologize.
And do we have, you and I spoke earlier about this, I'd like the council to hear some of our discussion. Do you have an average of what the rent is in Independence?
Yeah, council member, I was able to go in after you and I spoke, get a little data on this. So these numbers are just a little bit aged because of the frequency of the census, but the estimate for Independence in 2018 was that monthly rent for our community is $839 per month.
And for them to qualify for this, how many months in the arrears are they going to have to be?
You know, with our contract with Community Services League, when we did the utility assistance program, they had to be at least 30 days, 1 month in arrear, but prioritization was given to folks who were closer to what was defined as homelessness. With the utility assistance program, we were often dealing with folks who were somewhere between 2 to 4 months behind on their utility. So utilizing that same assumption, I would say that these folks are going to have rents that are somewhere between 2 and 4 months in arrears to their landlords.
So if we did 3 months at that average, how many households are able to provide for assistance?
There are about 39% of Independence homes are identified as rentals in the census report, which is about 18,500 of the total homes in Independence. At 184,000, we're probably going to be able to help about 1 to 1.5. I did do some research in preparation for this agenda item and this recommendation. It looks like nationally, about 10% of renters nationwide are at least 30 days in arrears on their rent. So we're certainly not going to be able to cover probably everybody that is going to find themselves in arrears. It covers 1% and 10% nationwide are in arrears, but it's certainly a step towards that, I would say.
I didn't get to hear the number, our estimated number of households we'd be able to assist. What was that number again?
I would say about 1 to 1.5% of the households that are rentals would be eligible or not, would be able to access these funds at the amount that's being recommended for utilization here.
So it's under 200.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Council member, I failed to recognize earlier that Tom Scannell, our community development director, is in the call, and he would, I hate to put Tom on the spot, but I'm certain that Tom would have a good idea of what defines our low to moderate income eligibility under CDBG.
All right.
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, so the level that the city manager had mentioned, it fluctuates based on the household size. So starting with a single person household, I believe that income level is about 20 to 25,000, and it gradually goes up from there. I think for a family of 4, I think you're talking about $40,000 a year in order to income qualify. As part of this contract, CSL will be certifying and verifying the household's income and that they do meet the low to moderate income requirements for HUD.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. City Manager, that 820, 830 number, that's market rate, correct? Is that?
That is the $840 per month. That is the average in rent in Independence. So obviously, I think we could all recognize places that are going to have rents higher than that, and some that probably unfortunately fall well below that average. But that is the cumulative average for our community.
Okay. So the amount of help that could possibly reach could be more than that, depending on the housing authority assistance that's been given already to these individuals. They can use this funding to help with that supplication of the housing authority funds as well as this. So in reality, this could be stretched out further, possibly.
Yes, I know that the Community Services League was the recipient of some funds, federal funds that flowed to Kansas City metropolitan region to help disperse those for Eastern and Jackson County, though the greatest concentration of rental properties does fall in Independence. So it was thought that the bulk of those funds, which I believe was close to $500,000, would land in our community. This 184,000 would be in addition to that. But so the Community Services League is certainly working with a larger pot for this purpose than what we're contributing. Ours is in addition to what they already had received from other agencies.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions on this ordinance? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Tough,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Delisi,
yes,
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, ordinance passes. May I have city clerk?
Bill number 20-096, an ordinance approving the amended 2019-2020 annual action plan for program year 45 and an amendment to the 2017-2021 consolidated plan and making the necessary appropriations. Bill number 20-097, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of funding from the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Marshal Service through the Joint Law Enforcement Operations Task Force for use by the Police Department and making the necessary appropriations.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our first readings for this evening. Mr. City Manager, I would like on the information only agenda, one of the items on there is the Southwest Independence 353 guidelines. I know that that committee has been doing a lot of work and to come up with these guidelines that were provided to us this evening. Can you just explain what are the next steps in implementing and marketing this program?
Yeah, certainly, Mayor. At this next step, the board has been formed. Their action plan has now been submitted. City staff is sending out some information to property owners within this eligible district to make them aware of the program. So now this is where rubber will finally meet the road. This is where we are hoping now to get applications from eligible property owners and that they will recognize the value of this investment and the associated abatement. So we've identified those eligible property owners. Those letters have been prepared and those will be being disseminated this week to property owners within the district.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, this brings us to council member comments. I will start with Councilman Hobart.
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Steinmeier.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to just share a couple things. My wife's new business, we as vendors, we're going into a lot of small businesses, restaurants and bars, and other locations, talking with people that are have had their hours reduced now down to 10 o'clock. Numbers they're sharing with me, their business is down between 30 and 40%. Servers are now, they've gone from 5 days to 3 days, now down to 2 days. Just want to remind us that our small business community generates 44% of the U.S. economy, and they create 2/3 of the net new jobs. And they do pay a substantial tax rate as part of doing business in our country. And I want us to be reminded that we should shop local. I know everybody loves their Amazon, they love even their Walmarts of the world, but take the time, go out and talk to people, look at the folks in the eyes and understand that their stories are real. The struggle is real. They're hurting. They don't know how long this is going to last. They're looking for relief. And the long-term damage that we're going to see, I don't know that we can even put numbers to, But I hope that everybody during this holiday season, rather than making those orders online, will take the time to go out and shop local and support your local businesses. They desperately need all of us and all of our supports.
I wanted to, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry to go out of order. Councilman Steinmeier's comments reminded me. The Chamber of Commerce launched an app, or they joined an app, and a lot of the local businesses are going to be on there, HOWND. And so I just wanted to remind people that there may be deals on there from local businesses. So I encourage folks to download that and use that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Councilman Steinmeier, did you have anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Delucci.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Huff.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilman Perkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last Friday, I had the great opportunity to meet with the Northwest Van Horn group again. We had not met since February. We began to organize and kind of discuss about the Northwest side of town, and it was good to get back with the group. Obviously, a lot has happened since that time, so it was a good way to get back, discuss some of the plans and actions that were taking place. I was able to give them the phase 2 update of 24 Highway and some exciting things there, and just kind of get caught up with the community leaders, the principals of Van Horn and Fairmont Elementary and the other stakeholders in that area. Beginning to do some planning stages of community recovery, meaning the City of Independence doesn't have to be the lead driver, but it's what our faith-based organizations, what our community-based organizations are wanting to do to help out those individuals, those homes that are struggling through this whole COVID timepiece. So it was really good to get with the community group again, get into the right direction. And as information comes available about what we're planning on what that recovery plan from a grassroots levels look like, I'll be willing to share that with our council to keep this information moving.
Thank you very much. Councilman Stewart.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have quite a bit going on, obviously, in our community, as we always do. We are continuing to operate our COVID test sites at Adventure Oasis, but my understanding is that we are down to our last several hundred tests, so that will be concluding here in the next several days. But we've had a tremendous response and a great volunteer effort to conduct those tests and to do some outreach to folks who come through our testing site who might need some information or assistance. So I wanted to acknowledge that we saw that we did another payment through in the information only again to our CRO laboratory, which has been doing our lab work for us on that. So we need to get those dollars expended by the end of the month through the provisions of the CARES Act fund, but that's been very successful. We have a lot of holiday events happening, albeit in a different format. So I hope people take advantage of the opportunity to enjoy some of the activities around town in a safe manner. And we are working on some other ideas for some fun things that people might be able to participate in during this holiday season. Last and certainly not least, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, we announced today that we have received recognition from the state of Missouri for our health departments to be recognized as a local public health agency. This was a recognition that we lost when we decentralized our health department a couple of years ago. Given the current pandemic and emphasis on public health, we realized that we had done that perhaps in haste and in error. So we have been working for the last many months through the state of Missouri to regain that recognition. Thanks in no small part to our consultants in Jefferson City, Strategic Capital Consulting, and John Barget and Associates, who were very helpful to us and in fact essential to allowing us to receive this recognition. Christina Heinen will continue as she has been to as our acting health director. She has been critical and key to our COVID response in the area of public health, and she will continue in that role as we continue to work with our region and the state of Missouri on our COVID response, and then well beyond that to reformulate our comprehensive health department and the associated services that come with that. So I know that that was a key priority of this council, certainly a priority of our advisory board of health. And I just wanted to express my gratitude towards all of the council members and our advisory board of health and our city staff for making that a priority and reaching that goal, which is very, very important to us at this time of moving forward. Mr. City Manager, anything else this evening?
Mayor, only thing I will add is we have certainly benefited from the leadership of Christina Heinen as our acting health director since 2018 and in her role during COVID. So I know she'll make this council and our community proud as she starts to reestablish the department once again for our community. So we look forward to working with all of you. And with that, nothing else this evening.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you.